Hello, it's Bailey and welcome back to my channel for the announcement for round 8 of Squash That series. If you're thinking this is kind of early because we did just have a round in September, I'm putting this announcement out early because it is going to be our biggest round yet. So while it may be a little bit larger of a commitment, I just want that in the back of people's minds for them to decide and prepare if they want to participate or not. So with that being said, this round of Squash That series will be running from January 1st all the way through February 6th. So it is a little bit longer than a month, and you will see the structure of that and why it is so long in a minute here. Just a reminder, Squash That series is a readathon based around reading sequels and series you're in the middle of, so go ahead and update your spreadsheets, see what you need to get to, and prepare for this round. If you have been participating in Squash That series before and are already in the Discord, you may know that the last round in September, I was giving teasers towards this round, and I did at the end of that round in the Discord announce the main concept of what this round is going to be. But if you don't know, Squash That series round 8 is going to be a tournament style bracket, so you will be individually kind of more information on that to come, individually competing to be the sole winner. There are 32 spots on this tournament board, so there will be a qualifying portion of this readathon to make it onto the board, and from there it is single elimination. There is no like losers bracket, but there's more information later on in this video on how each of us will be able to continue to participate all the way through the readathon. So while you will get out, you are still very important to this readathon all the way through to the end. The exciting part is that after the qualifying period, each competition, head-to-head competition, we will be replaying a previous Squash That series game. So each week I will be randomizing the list of 7 rounds that we have already done to decide which game we will be playing to compete that week. And so throughout this, we will end up getting to 5 of the 7 previous games. So we won't get to play all of them. There are obviously some that I would rather get to than others, but I'm gonna let it be fair. If we don't get to some of my favorites, that's just like the luck of the draw here. So in general, for the schedule of events, the qualifying period is going to be the 1st and 2nd of January. So we will have a 2-day qualifying period. After I get through this whole schedule here, I am going to let you know how you will be qualifying, but just know that that will be a 2-day qualifying period. And then every single week, the readathon is actually not going to be active on Wednesdays. That's going to be kind of the admin day so that I and the other people helping me organize this readathon can prepare for the next game and kind of replace people on the bracket. So it will be that 2-day qualifying period, and then each week will run Thursday through Tuesday for 6 days until we get all the way through to February 6th. You will need to play this game in Central Standard Time. That is the time zone that I and Kayla are both in. Kayla is my main co-host for this readathon, so it will need to be played in that time zone just so that we can monitor head-to-head competitions. That way you have to be playing in the same time frame as the person you're competing against. I am also planning on every Tuesday night having a live show from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time to do kind of a last final push for everyone for the current competing week, as well as the final part of that live show will be me actually spinning to get the game for the next week, so we can all kind of find that out and react live, and then I can quickly get you the information on how that game will be played the following week. So let's talk about qualifying and how you can actually make it on to this board. The way to qualify, again, it is 2 days, January 1st and 2nd, is you will have to reach 2 goals, being reaching 500 pages read and a total of 6 hours read. And so once you have done that, you have made it onto the board. It will be the first 32 people to accomplish this task. If we don't get 32 people, it will be the next people placed on the board will be whoever has the highest percentage of those 2 goals completed. If we end up without 32 people trying to qualify, I will just make the board smaller so there will be less active players. You will be placed on the board based on when you do qualify, and how that's going to work is basically like the first person who qualifies is going to go in that top bracket spot, the second person is going to be in the bottom, third person, fourth person, fifth person, sixth person, until we meet in the middle. And I will be giving minimal hints as to like how many people are qualifying, so you will not know how close you are to needing to finish or not. I think that leaves a little bit of suspense there, and also makes it hard to strategize in terms of like, do you want to finish right away and get paired against somebody who also finished fast, aka is potentially a hard competitor, or do you want to try to like wait and get maybe an easier matchup? That's why I'm going to give minimal hints so you don't really know, so that the goal is really just to make sure you actually end up on the board. I'm going to give you a reminder of the previous games that we have played. Some of them, it's been a while since we played them, and some of you probably have not been along since we first started doing this and didn't get a chance to play those, so never knew they even existed. I'm going to give like just a brief rundown of what those were, but I'm not going to be going into the rules for each game. That will happen as they're spun. I have separate videos filmed explaining how that week will be played, but we are using all of the original graphics that we used for each round. I didn't modify anything for this special round, so all the original like boards and things will still be what is used, as well as all those prompts that were originally on there. So I will have the playlist linked down below of every single announcement video I've done for the readathon if you want to go back and like see what the rules were for those, as well as kind of look at the prompts that were there. I will say that I'm like hyper aware that some of these would be more fun to be chosen earlier in the readathon rather than later, and vice versa, but I'm gonna let the spin choose when they are played, and it's just the luck of the draw here. But all of those previous 7 games were the very first round. We did like a tier ranking system. There were just prompts in which you were basically just trying to finish all 10 of them and getting different like titles, certifications as you got through the list. The second round we had a 3x3 bingo board. This originally was a weekend edition, so it's going to be extended into this 6-day format if we end up getting it. The third round was one of my favorites, and it was the Candyland like game board. We will be playing this board again if we land on it. Hopefully this is one I would really love to get to do again, but again, this one was a long round that we would be modifying down to 6 days. So again, there's modifications to every single one of these to make it work for this readathon, but we're playing them as close to original as possible. The fourth round was based on Ruby from Ruby Red's Tic Tac TBR game, and this is very conceptually similar to the 3x3 bingo board, but every single person generates their own board, which makes it fun. Round 5 was probably our most successful readathon yet, and round 5 was teams. So if you're curious how that will be played if we land on it, you'll have to stay tuned. Round 6 was the traffic light round, which revolves mostly around reading books that are farther along in series. So that's a very fun concept if we do end up getting to it. And then our 7th and most recent round was a 24 and 48, main concept being read as many hours as you can. I just turned my overhead fan on because I was getting really hot. It's probably all the excitement, I'm sure, but hopefully it's not distracting now. But now it's time for me to let you know how you were able to participate if you do get eliminated. And so we have come up with the concept of our cheerleaders. So essentially, if you get eliminated, you are going to stick behind the person who eliminated you, who beat you, and become their cheerleader. If that person then gets eliminated themselves, you will attach yourself behind the person who eliminated them, and so on and so forth. I hope that's like a general concept that is understandable. I feel like I don't need to explain that further. Whoever eliminated you, you're gonna stay behind and follow all the way up the board. So in each week's rules video where I explain how we're going to play that game for the week, there will also be a section that explains how the cheerleaders are going to get to play. And I will continue to use the terms cheerleader and active player to distinguish those two types of players. But our cheerleaders will be actively influencing the game each week. They will have power to help their active player in terms of either giving them actually more points or advantages. Anyone who even attempts to qualify will have the opportunity to become a cheerleader, and those cheerleaders will be placed behind people on the first round based on when those people qualified. So the people who qualified last will be first to get a cheerleader. That's the only way for me to work this, so we will not all necessarily have the same amount of people behind us. I just don't want to have to exclude anybody who wants to participate, and so it may not end up completely fair. And that's my next point to be making in this announcement video. This readathon is not going to be fair, and if that is going to set you off, I'm going to tell you right now that this may not be the readathon for you. There are certain previous games that we have played that were never made to be competitive, and so there are just ways that it's gonna end up not being completely fair, and I just need you to be willing to have fun with that. For instance, like game board is based on rolling your dice. Someone could have to read way more books to even get there than others based on the luck of their rolls, and that's just how it's going to be. The only thing I have done to try to make it a little bit more fair is that each game does now have a modifier and a special rule around books that take less than an hour to finish. Again, the way that this can end up being unfair is that some of these games are based on the luck of a spin, a draw, a roll. Some people are simply further along in series than others, or have longer and shorter options to read. As well as some people's cheerleaders may be more helpful than others. It is really luck of the draw on some of these games. I think conceptually this game still will lean towards the people who are trying the hardest and doing the most, will still lean towards them winning most of the time, but I also hope that you understand that there's really nothing I could do here to try to make it exactly fair. And again, I hope you're just along for the ride and have a fun time with it. I don't want to upset anyone by making them feel like they got cheated, but it could land that way. I hope it doesn't, but it could in some instances. Next, if you're curious on what you really can do to prepare for this readathon, being that you do have like 2 months here to prepare for it, again, I would advise you to go through and really look at your currently reading series list and kind of prepare your options for the readathon. You will have to strategize when you're reading certain things because some of these games allow for first books in a series to be read and some of them do not. When you join the Discord, I have made a chat titled graphics, and that includes every single graphic from the previous rounds so that you can kind of try to see the prompts that we've used and prepare books for each of those prompts if you want to, or just have a general look through of them so you may know what's coming your way in terms of prompts. And then again, just another reminder that every single book for this readathon does need to be part of a series. So even if a standalone fits a prompt, you can't use it. It does have to be a book in a series. Now for how to sign up. The main reason I'm filming this so early. I really want to be able to gauge how many people are interested and going to be trying to participate in this readathon. So I want you to go ahead and sign up as soon as you are willing to commit. So I do already have a sign up form linked down below. I'd love to see you showing up there. I will say this readathon is very active in our Discord group. It is going to be hard to participate if you are not part of that Discord group. It will be possible. You will be able to submit and continue to participate and see things like the weekly live shows and announcements on Tuesdays and other live shows throughout the readathon via my YouTube channel and some of my other contributors' YouTube channels, but the Discord is going to be a really huge hub for this readathon. And lastly, in terms of signing up, the sign up form is going to ask you for a unique username, and these are case sensitive. So we are simply asking everyone to please sign up in all lowercase letters. This prevents us from having to go and answer questions in terms of like what you did use as your sign up name. Everybody will be all lowercase, so please sign up using all lowercase letters. And lastly, for this announcement, I just want to thank all of my amazing contributors for this readathon. Firstly, my co-host since day one, Kayla from Kayla Ray Reads. I'm so grateful for her to always partner with me in making this readathon, and she is fun and active in the chat and not sick of my crazy ideas yet. For this specific round, I pulled in a couple other contributors just because this is such a huge round to manage in terms of all the logistics of having so many head-to-head things happening at once and things that we're gonna have to juggle through the readathon. So my main brainstorming contributors for this were Lizzie from Lizzie's Literary Life and Martine from Just Martine, and also a special huge thanks to Lizzie from Lizzie's Literary Life. She is my master spreadsheet maker. She's really saving my life creating spreadsheets for each of these games so that I'm easily able to keep track of what everyone is up to. Some of these we're gonna have like 16 head-to-head competitions going on at once, and I, as one person not knowing how to use spreadsheets, would not be able to keep track of that. So Lizzie is really the lifesaver of this round, so shouts out her. And then lastly, I do just want to give a final thank you to Ruby from Ruby Red as my main graphics creator. She did not create the tournament bracket for this, but she has created a few of our game boards previously. I haven't had her make anything yet specifically for this readathon, but in case I ask her to, I just wanted to give her a shout out here. So I hope that this in general is enough information to spark your interest and want to sign up. Like I said, there will be a lot more information coming as to how the game is actually going to be played as we get through these rounds, and I really think this is going to be a fun one. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I'm sure there's going to be many, and I'd like to start compiling some sort of like FAQ, so shoot me those questions down below or anywhere you want to. But thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.